Welcome, everyone, to our August 10th, 2023 town board meeting. And if you would, please rise. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this point, people who've been here before, we have public access in the beginning. We also have it at the end of the meeting. But we'll start right now. I'll call if we have any visitors who wish to speak. Okay, they come forward. You're up. Go ahead. I've been asked to tell people, us included, besides me, speak loudly into the microphone. They say my voice is a little too loud.
Make sure it's on too.
Everybody hear me?
There you go.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Matthew May. I live at 20 Winfield Lane, Troy, New York, 12180. Coming before you tonight with my neighbors behind me, thank you for coming. Just to find out what's going on with our road. We can't get some straight answers. I've been in front of most of the members here before. This has been going on since 2018 down Eddie Braden Hill. We got new supers now. I brought in pictures of the road conditions, the drainage problems. I'm coming here in frustration of lack of action. Nothing's being done.
No, that's not true. Now, you live in the neighborhood and you know very well that we've been up there taking care of drainage situations.
After my email to Mike Bailey,
Well, it came, and now that you got it, now you're complaining about more drainage problems?
sir, have you been up there to
Yes,
inspect this?
absolutely, I
The
have.
grate they put in is already collapsing.
The grate that they put in is
Right in front of the
collapsing.
guardrail, the thing is that it's falling in the back.
The one they just put in
The
there?
one they just put in? Is that true?
I live there. I
Really?
see it.
Well, I know after it got put in there that I went up to see what had been done, and they sunk it down a little bit, and they made it so it would swale there.
Well,
It's not that they haven't been up there.
but why did it take this email from 2018 to
Now, wait a minute, I
2023?
was up there for you once before.
Gordy oversees the highway.
I was up there
I pay
once
taxes,
before with,
so don't these people here.
and
Nothing's been done, Gordy.
that's not true. That's not true at all.
It's absolutely true.
Nothing's been done. There's no action.
Man, nothing's been done in terms of the drainage, you're saying? Or the
The
road?
the road / drainage, the whole thing, was this phase one? Winfield Lane, wasn't there phase two?
Yeah, the drainage, as he mentioned, we have gone up there and done things to it, right? Highway. Michael's new there. But Michael, you know, we went up there, we cleaned up catch basins at one point. We went down by your house and opened up the drain there. And at one point, out in front of your house, Matt, that
Circular one.
circular one was full of leaves. Remember, we got that clean, went up there and that was better. I had an engineer, because what happened, our highway superintendent was talking about putting a detention pond at the bottom of that. That's why he marked it up, I'm just telling you. And I took the engineer, Wayne Bonesteel, up there and said, what do we need to do here? And he said, number one, you got the wrong grade in. It should have the one that they put in now, not a round one, but the other one. So we did that. I mean, we've done some stuff, but it has not worked 100%.
So the next question, so you've done work.
What we've done worked, maybe not enough, maybe not the right stuff.
Next question is, I know it's 50 feet is the town right away, correct? Or 50 feet off the road? Am I wrong?
I'm not,
This is what I've been told.
Generally, it's
Each
25
right-of-way,
feet.
each right of way, each road could be different.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is Winfield
yeah,
Lane?
Don't know.
Matt,
Probably.
that depends if it's a deeded road. I would think that road's deeded. So if it's deeded, we know exactly what it is. I mean, what the town owns.
So,
Some of the old roads are highway by uses, and that's what we go by, what we use. So it should be a deed, so we know exactly how wide it is, you know.
so right, I've been told 50 feet,
Okay.
even if it's 25 feet. So at the 51st foot, I have hundreds of thousands of gallons of water coming from the road going into that one manhole cover, coming through one culvert pipe that's discharging right into my driveway.
What do you,
This is private property though, I've been told.
what would you think would be a good fix for it? What would your fix be?
I'm not an engineer, I'm a machinist.
Well, I'm not an
That's the
engineer
thing.
either, but we've sent engineers up there, and I was just kind of curious as what your fix would be on it. What's your twist on it?
A diversion, retention pond,
Where would you put a retention pond?
that I don't know.
That's true. That's a tough one, isn't it? You know, you're at the bottom of a hill, which is tough to begin with. And, we've been struggling with this thing for a number of years now, trying to please you mostly, because you were the one who were complaining about it. Now, I was there and I looked at your strip across and checked to see. And when I was there, and I'm not saying that it wasn't storm damage, but there was water running through. And there was water running through the original catch basin. And there was water, even though the one just above there was in definite need of being cleaned out and pushed back. I'm not gonna swear, but it was moving water. It was water. And as you well know, this was probably the worst July it was the worst July in history. Everybody had water problems. I get it. Now, how are we gonna fix it? What's our ultimate goal here? I know what your ultimate goal is, not to see any water, but how would you?
But no, my ultimate goal is not to spend my time or money on fixing my driveway.
Well, that's
That's my
true,
ultimate
that's
goal.
true, but nobody tells you to build your house at the end of a friggin' ravine. You got a
Okay,
driveway
well,
that's huge.
There's a code inspector and somebody issues a certificate of occupancy saying, okay, you're good to move it.
Look,
I didn't-
we cannot have illicit discharges off our roads into your property. We get it. We know. We hear you.
So what are you gonna do about it?
Good God, man, we were just there 3 weeks ago not even 3 weeks ago, trying to solve the problem.
Okay, so what do you have so
Now you're
far?
telling me that the job they did collapsed and it's no good?
So you were there 3 weeks ago, what do you have so far? From your assumption, from your synopsis,
What have I
can
done?
you do?
I was there and saw they swaled the front of your driveway. They put a new top on the existing culvert or storm drain, put a different culvert top on it, made it bigger than what it was to try to swale that water down in there. Now this is the first that I've heard since, how many weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe, that this was put in, that it had collapsed. Now, are you saying that it collapsed?
Not completely.
Not
The back-
completely.
It's, you can see the back where it's, the asphalt is around the frame
Yeah.
of the drain grate
Yeah,
is falling in.
It shouldn't be doing that.
shouldn't be doing that. But this is the first I've heard of it. So obviously, we went up there with good intent. And honestly, that's why we were up there. I was doing something to try to solve a problem.
Okay.
Now, I don't need to come here and I don't want to argue with anybody, and I didn't know anything about that the construction that they did there was failing. I will address it. It will be addressed. But I don't know what else there is that we can do right now. And, we're not gonna do anything about that road until the construction is done on it. And then we will do it. I believe we're scheduled to redo that work probably next year though. We're not gonna do it while you got heavy equipment running up and down the road. Not gonna happen.
I've heard the road was gonna be paved
Yep.
twice so far, and it's next year. And
When
to
did
say
you-
you're reluctant to put $125,000 into a road, I'm just curious, whose money is this?
When did?
Taxpayer.
When did?
Taxpayers.
The tax-
So who's choosing, you guys get to decide how you're spending our money.
Absolutely.
And we live on this road and it's deteriorating and it's causing me financial stress and time to fix my
So if I
driveway.
put
but I haven't fixed it.
now, wait a minute, now I put a new road in, how is that gonna cause you financial stress?
If you fix the drainage, I won't be Phil came to my house, I'm out there in my shorts, my bathing suit, scraping
I'm
number
not,
two
I'm not, I'm
stone.
not getting anywhere. We're
right,
trying to solve the problem. If I got a problem up there, we'll be up there and we'll try to address it. Other than fixing what is damaged, what else would you have us do?
I just wanna say one thing. I apologize for the language in the harsh email that I sent. The language was a little harsh, but it came out of frustration, because like I said, this is going on since 2018. I've been through numerous highway superintendents, I've been in front of the board, shown pictures. In my eyes, it's not sufficient. Maybe I could have worded it a little bit differently, but it's just a lack of action that I'm seeing.
But you don't have anything you'd like to see done. You
I
you
don't think
have-
that I should have to go out and hire a hydrologist or an engineer
No,
to
but you don't
design
need-
the road to present it to you.
But what you're saying is what there is no good.
Do you think it's good?
I don't know, I haven't been up there, but I
You
do.
just said you were been up
Wait.
there.
I was up there, but not during a thunderstorm or one of these gushers.
All right.
And I believe our guys were up there during one of those. Is that true, to watch it?
At this point, there's no water going down Mr. Mays' driveway.
I mean, I'm just getting feedback from the highway guys. I knew they built that. I went up there on a Sunday to see what they built. It wasn't in the middle of a storm. I just wanted to go up there and see whether something was being done. And I know they milled in front of your driveway. I saw that and pitched it down toward the retention pond that they sunk down, their small retention pond, into that storm drain. Is that true?
That they milled the road and they. put
In
these
front, did they
storm
mill,
drains in,
did
sunk
they
the
mill in
road.
front of your
Correct.
driveway and run it toward that catch basin?
They mill the catch basins, which the water goes right around it. But since nobody's there during a big storm, they wouldn't know that, but I am.
The water doesn't go around it now.
It doesn't go
No,
around
that's
it?
absolutely not true. Absolutely
Okay,
not true.
I'm seeing, I'll show you a video, guys. I have hundreds of videos and pictures on my phone. I'm not making this shit up.
No, I didn't say you were making it up. I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. I mean, you can't say that we didn't go there with intent to try to help you.
I'm not saying that.
Well, kind of you are.
Those words didn't come out of my mouth.
So, here we are. We're there trying to solve the problem. And if it doesn't work, then we have to keep going. But don't sit there and tell us we weren't there trying to address anything, because we were. And that costs the town money too when we're up there trying to do that stuff.
Well, that's good.
So it's not that we don't hear you.
All right, we're all good.
Thank you.
Matt, let me jump in, which sometimes I get myself in trouble with that. You have got a situation up there, as Gordy said, I mean, we have tried to adjust or do something. Your section's a challenge, as you know. As I started to mention, Mike thought he could put a detention pond, that's why he marked it out. I took the engineer, and the engineer said, number one, you got school buses coming down, you don't wanna put a pond at the bottom of that hill, and how deep it's gonna be. We plow it with trucks and stuff too. The engineer said the next challenge is you gotta take that whole road and slope it to make sure the water gets into that pond. So I'm personally not a big, I wasn't real excited about putting a pond, detention pond in there. So the situation is, as you know, a few years ago, we bought, the Harrington Farm bought the bottom part of that property. I kind of hate to see houses down at that bottom. And our kids want to keep farming, so we bought it. So I was with Mr. Cronow, Kevin, and we took a ride and we did the cul-de-sac. And when we got out, talked about the property that we ended up buying, I saw the sign that said lot for sale, your lot. And I said to him, you're kidding me, right? There's a lot down in there? There's a bunch of drop off. And he says, there's a buyer for everything. And I turned around and I said, there's a big hill over there and the water's gonna come down. Now, that all being said, when you go in there, I was quite surprised when you built your home. There's a drop, but you built a beautiful home down in there, and there is a level spot, and you got a nice place down in there. So it wasn't as bad a lot that I thought, but there is a drainage situation. My engineer said the best thing to do is take that road and slope it, but that's gonna take quite a bit of blacktop. I know you pay a lot of taxes, you got a lot of beautiful homes up there, I understand that. I know you've been building homes. I think the heavy construction stuff is done, or almost done. I don't know how many more homes. So it needs to be done, the road. I know we've been talking to a lot of people and nothing's happening. And what happens when it comes to taxes, we got a lot of roads in this town, over 100 miles, Michael, 110 miles, something like that. And a lot of them are in pretty bad shape. So we have a budget, and what happens is I ask my highway guy and his general foreman which road we should pave, which ones need it. And they give me a list and the board a list. And they try to rank, we don't want to, problem is some of the roads we pave, then we start to lose them, we don't want to lose them, so we top them. And then once we come up with a list, then the board approves the list that needs to be paved. That road needs to be done. I know you've been promising. I'll go on record, right? I know you don't want to hear this, but I promise you, if I'm still here next year, or if I'm not, you can talk to the other gentleman running against me. That road will be done next year, and it will be done right. But in the meantime, the damn drainage, we ought to be able to get a little handle on that. And I thought we had it pretty good. And I know you're gonna do your driveway, and the highway superintendent and the general foreman said when you pay that, if you sloped it, drained it toward that ditch next to you, that might help your situation. So all I'm saying is, you pay a lot of taxes. I know that. I see some people from Carroll Grove Road, they got a real concern, talk about a rough road. They're right over that. That was a tough one too.
I just drove it the other day, that's way better than our road,
Carroll Grove better.
way better.
I don't know. Okay. So anyway,
They don't have divot or, cracks to go across the road that are this wide. And there, we do, we've got every, 30 or 40 feet, there's that crack every single.
can you see the cracks, make it easier?
I don't think that, why spend more money, you throw more money?
You gotta put
Can we
wing
get a
backs.
name and an address, please?
May I say
We have a
something
process,
too?
we have a process, so, yeah.
So my name is Ann Glenn, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Ann Glenn, my husband and I are at 8 Winfield Lane. So we are in the middle of this street on the hill, we're I think the oldest home actually in the neighborhood. I am hearing you, Mr. Christian, I've not been to a meeting before, and I appreciate your efforts and the work that you've done, but I'm hearing you say to Matt that the issue is that his home is built at the end of a cul-de-sac essentially. And obviously his problems are much more severe than those of us who are higher up on the road, but we certainly have issues as well. Our driveway was recently patched. Our drainage system toward the end of our driveway is collapsing as well. It is not just Matt's issue about the location of his home. It is a problem with the road in general. It hasn't been taken care of. And I know that you've alluded to this, Supervisor Harrington. We obviously, I think collectively, we are a large tax base in the town of Brunswick in that neighborhood. I'm a professor, my husband's in law enforcement. We have worked very hard to live in that neighborhood, to take care of our property. We take pride in it. I'm a longtime Brunswick resident. I support my neighbors, and I have concerns about the fact that you're suggesting that it's Matt's issue simply because of where he chose to build his beautiful home. He pays taxes. He pays significant taxes. And we have 3 children who it's a danger for them to ride their bikes on the road. It's not safe. And I need to say that on behalf of my neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up. You might have to tip that back up a little bit.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Kazunas. I live at 7 Winfield Lane. As you go down the hill towards Matt's, on the left, the brick colonial.
It's beautiful homes.
Thank you. Yes, we built in 2001. So just a real brief history of Winfield. I know a lot of you have been around for a while. The first 3 houses were built in the 80s, as you probably know, Cobblestone Development LLC. It went bust. Troy Savings Bank foreclosed on the lots. Myself and others bought 9 of the remaining lots that were phase 1. So a couple things I want to point out that I think some of you might be aware. But phase one of Winfield, as you alluded to Supervisor Harrington, there was a phase one and phase two. If you look at some of the subdivision plans from '89 that were approved by your planning board, it showed the cul-de-sac. In fact, it showed as a temporary cul-de-sac on the diagram. It also showed the detention basins and the whole flow of stormwater. So I assume there was a stormwater management plan put together at that time. I don't know if that's required for that size subdivision, but I assume it was. Fast forward to 2008 or 2009 when Mr. Chrono purchased the remaining land. I actually attended the planning board. Everyone's talking about Matt deciding to build at the end of the cul-de-sac. Chrono got permission for 3 lots at the end of the cul-de-sac. I was in support of it, as were many neighbors, because it made it a permanent cul-de-sac as opposed to punching all the way through to Tamble. So first of all, it was the planning board, not somebody's decision to build. The planning board shouldn't have approved these lots if they weren't up to snuff, okay? And who looked at the original stormwater management plan? And if you're going to approve a modification to it, I would have assumed your engineer at the time or somebody would have weighed in to say, hey, wait a minute, our stormwater management plan needs to be modified or changed. The one thing I brought up at the planning board meeting was exactly the cul-de-sac. Looking out of my front window, seeing school buses having to do Y turns down at the bottom of the temporary cul-de-sac that wasn't up to speed. So I take a lot of exception to you bringing up the fact that somebody decided to build there when in fact it's the planning board, I think, is got a large hand in this. We as citizens look to our planning board and our town board to protect us, to provide services for us. So first of all, that's the first major point of exception that I take to some of the comments that were made. The second thing is, okay, if a stormwater management plan wasn't done, then why don't we look at it, you know? Eminent domain or cooperation, why not run the culvert down and do a detention pond downhill in some of the, near some of the wetlands that you own, Supervisor Harrington?
Water running down there now.
Yeah, that are of no use to you from a farming perspective anyway, and that would be a good solution. As Ann brought up, my neighbor, it's not just the cul-de-sac. Another issue is, again, I'm not a civil engineer, but the detention, the basins, they seem to be on the wrong side of the road. I know that the pipe just runs on one side, and when you have 2 basins, it goes under the road. So this feeds into the planning. If we're gonna repave or do something with the road, we need to look up by number 8, and also in front of my house. About 4 years ago, I slipped on the ice, put my, going down to get my trash cans on a Monday evening after coming home from a long day of work. Put my teeth through my tongue, got a bunch of stitches. Now, the town does do a good job of throwing some sand down, but it can't keep up in the winter with the volume of ice that you have on that road. So we've got a serious problem here, and, I would hope that you guys would take this seriously, not try to deflect it back to a poor decision to build. And quite frankly, why don't you guys go back and look at the planning board activity? When somebody skipped a step or missed something, then it's on you guys, not us. Thank you.
John, you did an excellent job. As I personally mentioned, when I looked at that, I didn't see a lot. I was trying to say, Matt, probably smarter than I am, because he's got a beautiful house down there, and there is a nice lot. But it's a challenge because of that. I don't know if that road was built correctly, as you said, with only one coat on that thing. I mean, now we've been a lot tougher to make sure it was done properly. I don't know what kind of base was in there or anything else, so. We hear you. Anybody else? Come on. You got talked to more than once too, probably, so.
My name is Jason Laird, I live at 4 Winfield Lane. I personally don't have any problems because I'm at the top of the hill, but the rest of my neighbors do. I can tell you that since I've lived there, we used to have a sweeper come at least twice a year and sweep up all the sand that was put down on the road, which used to help unblock the catch basins, which are horribly full, just about every one of them, including the one at the bottom on the left that has been recently repaired since it almost fell in on itself. Most of everything that was keeping it together ended up in the hole, and then it got placed on top. So I'm not really sure why that happened, but you can look and see the bricks inside the catch basin, which, anyway. And I would say that what we're doing now is putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. We've milled the areas in front of the catch basins, which never caught the water to begin with. So now the water skirts right over top of what's being cut there and keeps right on going straight down the road. I watched it. I can take a video of it for you the next time it rains. It happens every single time. Much past that, I don't know what else to say. It's just, you told me when you were at we talked last month, that you know there's a huge problem up there.
I know there is.
So,
There's water coming out of the banks at different spots here, running across the road. I'm just saying, we can go in there and throw an inch and a half on it and make it look pretty. And
Well, I know,
you're gonna be in the same boat in
right, so I'm on the
in
same.
2 years, you're gonna come and say, what happened? I'd rather go in there and put the wind backs, get the slopes and,
Well, I think the wings are a horrible idea. Let me just
Do
say
you?
that. I don't know if that's necessary for this road or not, but I can tell you that I picked up those wings out of my yard every spring.
Huh.
In fact, I was gonna bring one, but I thought twice because I didn't want to be rude about it. Because I have a chunk about this big that I took out of my yard.
I know what they look like. So.
Yeah, you know, and if you look up there and drive through, you'll see where the plow hits them every single time. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good, use of resource. I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know if we need it. But if we don't, I would say don't do that, because the plows seem to hit it, which must do damage to the plows. We end up picking it out of our lawns every spring.
Yep.
I don't know if maybe there's a way to, instead of having the wings, maybe, you do like this on the side, so the water has a trough to run in, and maybe it gets it to the catch basins easier. I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but it's just an idea to throw out there. I know that road is way wider than most of the other roads.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna redo the drainage as well, maybe you get lawn back and you make the road smaller. I don't know, just ideas I'm trying to throw out there. So,
All good points.
you know,
Yeah, it's gotta get done right this time.
because the patches that you guys put down this year are great and fine until the plow hits the first time the plow hits those patches, we're gonna be right back to where we were before you guys patched it. So,
Mike, those detention ponds, didn't we clean them, or the catch basins? They're cleaned out, aren't they?
They were vacuumed.
I mean, they weren't, they were filled up.
They were filled up, yeah.
I thought we went up there and cleaned them.
All right, my point to that was that, instead of me coming, which I think I did last time, you said they need to be cleaned out. It needs to be on schedule to clean those out.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
You do use a lot of sand, which
There's
is
about
good.
500 catch basins in the town.
I understand that, but that's part of the drainage issue. They fill up and then they don't drain properly, and now we have bigger issues. That's all I'm saying.
After the winter with the sand, we usually sweep, but we have two different types of sweepers. We have something that sucks it out, and then we have this brush. And I think the tendency to go out in the country and use a brush, I'm hoping we use a vacuum in their development, because that's a little bit, we're not just pushing that sand off the side, John's the one with history.
I think that is more vacuum from the few times I've observed it.
They use a
I think
vacuum?
they use the vacuum on it.
This spring, they used a vacuum on it, and then when we went up a month ago, we droned it.
All right, at this point, they're gonna go home the same road, I know that. Anybody else at this point? Like I said, we got public access at the end also. Minutes of previous meeting, July 13th, regular town board meeting. Have a motion approval,
I make it. I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Report by elected officials, department head, town clerk, Mr. Lewis.
Okay. All right, we'll be remitting $7,457 to the supervisor's office. In rounded amounts, it's $4,333 in recycling sales. That's between the center and the office. $2,000 in rental fees. We had 12 more community center reservations and 2 more for the pavilion. $475 for dog licensing. 8 new residents and 64 renewed. It's $649 in miscellaneous fees. That was $282 for vital statistics, $77 for DEC licenses. That's our cut of $1,395 in sales. And we had $290 in dog impoundment fees. Stray dogs got picked up. That's a wash that was paid by the owners of the dog when it was redeemed. A couple notes. The camp's all done. Made it through another summer. And by all accounts from everybody, it went pretty well, except for once in a while I had some confusion with the transportation. Most of the time, the kids are either picked up or take the bus, and if that changes, sometimes they get a little confused. But other than that, it went well, with no injuries or anything like that. Hunting licenses started selling last Tuesday, and they're going good. It's always a busy time. And I have a reminder that we are still planning on the Hazardous Waste Day on September 16th. I'm reminding you that you have to register through the website. There's a link on our website, but you have to register with the county. And the information is on our website, and we also have some papers out on our table in the lobby. It's a blue page that has all the details, what they take, what they don't take, and the 2 ways to reserve your spot. And you should really do that right now. There are only so many spots available, and we aren't positive how full it has become so far. Rebecca tried reaching out to Ann at the county, but we didn't get a reply.
We have about 40 registered already.
About 40?
About.
Okay, all right. So if you plan on doing that, get your name in. They take just about everything. The list of what they take is huge, and the list of what they don't take is very small. So grab one of those flyers on your way out. You can see what they're doing.
Entertain a motion for Bill's report.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey, Highway Department?
Yeah, highway report. We're patching for 5 men for 8 days. Brush pickup, there was 8 men for 3 days. Installing and fixing the military banners, we had 2 men for the day. 1 man was boom mowing for around guardrails for 3 days. 1 man for 10 days was mowing ball fields and cemeteries and all the parks. We remade a bunch of picnic tables for the different Keys Lane and the football and all that. There was 2 men for 2 days doing that. We had 1 man for 5 days, and once a week or twice a week, we have to pull the recycles. So we was pulling the recycles over to the recycling center. 4 men for 6 days doing ditch work in different areas of the town. We went up on Vista and Bellevue, Fresh Ball Mountain before we did that. We had 3 men on a back truck for a day doing some catch basin work. We did catch basins in Casimir Lane, reset some grades in there. And we had 1 day where we had a big portion of the crew cleaning out the recycling area, doing a deep cleanup. Once a good thing that we do. We had 14 men for 1 day doing paving on Bald Mountain, which was a big thing for the month. We paved 600 ton on that. The day after that, we went through touching the driveways up, putting pressure on the driveways and such. For the last 4 days, we've been working, getting ready for pod spraying in 2 different roads. The shared services with the county, we had 3 trucks and drivers today. We were paving. Thomas got it, there was 2 trucks, and Tommy Grafton gave us 1. I express my appreciation for that. One of the things we did, the county called us and asked if they could use our mower, do a free up in our mower and driver for doing some of their guardrail work because they didn't have theirs with them. That's my report.
Thanks, Mike. Entertain a motion for Mr. Bailey's report.
I'll make it.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Water Department. Bill? Mr. Bradley? How are you, sir? Been fixing the leak all day? A break?
Well, a little bit of pain. Putting a whole full 8 hours in consistently is just not for me Hard labor.
You're in the management.
Hey, well, no, it's hard labor today, you know, have to pitch in and get things done. We actually, it was a lead service line that it, so we had to replace the lead service line all the way across the road. And we did that, with the help of, Rudy Reynolds and, what they call the lead puller. And we were able to run a cable through and with a backhoe, we were able to pull that cable and then pull the new line right across the road. So saves from cutting the road all the way open. You still have to dig, you know, on the main side, you have to dig where the current stock goes. But we got that all done and everything went really well.
Is this the South Lake problem spot?
Yes, yeah, and everything went well today. And because of that, I don't have any formal notes in front of me, but I would like to say that after 36 years, our water foreman, Wayne Savage, has decided to retire. His spatial memory will be missed. He was able to know where all these valves and all these services and everything else. Fantastic spatial memory. So that'll be a big loss to us. In the meantime, you know, we just look forward to, you know, picking up some new help or using some of our current help. And the highway department pitched in today with us, which worked out really well. So I thank Mike and his group. We've just finishing up the last of the meter reading. We're going to print our bills and everything else next week, so they go out. I think it's 23rd, the water bills go out.
How about the meter replacements?
We've been going along, but we took a little break from that. Been speaking of that, we were flushing last week. We did most of the town. I think we might stop just because of the way we set up the schedule and everything else. We didn't get completed Mountain View. But I think we can segment them and do them in September. We have a number of things to do out and repair some items that broke and things of that sort. So, you know, we're just plugging along, keeping things going. 365 days a year.
Wayne's retirement, just push yours off about 2 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I was impressed today. Everybody worked really well.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Bill's report, and I have a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Golden? Yeah. You're hiding in the back, I didn't see you there, buddy.
He's a good guy, hiding behind. Big guy.
Superintendent of Utilities and Inspection.
Good evening, gentlemen. The report from the building department in July of 2023. 95 building and property inspections, 330 active building permits, 34 permits issued or renewed, 12 meetings, 2 planning board meetings, 1 zoning board meeting, 0 court cases, 1 fire inspection, 8 follow-up complaint, follow-up code call-out inspections, 3 code call-outs, 13 code complaints, 16 code complaint inspections, 3 vacant abandoned properties identified or suspected in the assessor's department, 6 planning board projects, 5 zoning board projects, 7 FOIL request searches received, as well as zoning inquiries. So that is the report for the year for July of 2023. Any questions? If at all possible, I just wanted to touch back on the Bracer app that we were talking about, the compliance app. The Attorney Chaffee was thinking about it would be better if putting in a local law rather than just approving the resolution. We had 4 communities, which I handed out the information for you last meeting, North Greenbush, Hatland, Glenville, and Malta. And 3 of them we just did the resolution, and the 4th actually did a law. I don't know if a law would be worth the time to do. What I've spoken with, especially with Mr. Miller in North Greenbush, is that the compliance is pretty good. What I found from, well, the reason I found out about this was because of the Marini's development, in which the records, if you count the sprinkler inspections and backflow inspections, there are 320 records that have to be inputted per year. So the reason I found out about this is because when I asked for the reports for this year, they all said over with Bracer. And RDM Guardian, who has probably 80% of the sprinkler systems in our district, are fully aware of that. So We can talk about this a little more offline. That's currently what we stick with.
Let me just make one comment on that. What our actual conversation was, Chuck, you asked me to look at that and just do a resolution approving of the agreement. I read the agreement, apparently not everybody does that, and what it said was that the town has to pass a law which makes not the people who do the inspections not giving that information to the town is a violation of law, so the law has some teeth to it.
Right, exactly.
And so you look for some examples of laws and you found 3 that didn't have that law done, and you found 1 that did. And then I suggested that you call this Chrysler company back and ask them whether or not that is actually a requirement, because it's in the contract that we signed with Chrysler. And that was where it was left as far as I'm concerned.
And which I did, and he says some do, some don't. It usually varies on the size of the municipality.
So they don't care? I wonder why it's in the contract if they don't care.
Is there any negative to us? I mean, it seems to be better to pass the law than you can not. I mean, then you're.
Oh, gosh,
Then you're covered, right?
for future growth in the township, yes, and if we decide to add more of the inspections, yes, it's certainly.
You could modify.
It would be advantageous to do that.
Yeah.
But, currently, like I say, North Rebush is operating without that. And, other municipalities, I don't want to say our size, are operating.
Do you have a contract in front of you?
Sure.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Well, that's a requirement, you have to do it.
Well,
Or take it out of the
it sounds like he's, well, now you're talking.
Should be in there.
Chuck, while we're looking that up, did you find out about the nonprofits and the fire companies and all that? Whether they could be exempt from the charges on it?
They said that was up to me.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
so you can tell them that they're not gonna
Which I
charge
found
them?
that to be rather peculiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
Mhm.
I'm not finding the contract, Chuck, just like.
We're not gonna.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Offline, so to speak. You can have this back.
I thought that was on page 10. But that is the provider letter from the AHJ.
It's a different,
It might be.
it doesn't look the same.
Great.
That's all.
Any
All right.
questions? Yeah.
All good, Chuck? Entertain a motion for Mr. Golden's report.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town attorney, Mr. Chaffee?
Yes, this past month I attended and participated in meetings with staff and outside counsel on various matters at town office or by conference call or remote meeting. July 17, July 19, July 21, July 26, August 1, August 2, and August 3. I prepared the resolutions which are on the agenda for tonight's meeting. I've been working with outside counsel on a new recently commenced pending litigation matter. Been working with a law firm engaged by our insurance carrier to represent the town with respect to another item of pending litigation. I've been involved in some discussions and did some research as regards an ongoing legal dispute regarding driveway and parking issues. Been working with outside counsel and our consultants regarding matters pertaining to commercial scale solar collector systems and the moratorium which currently exists on such projects. Been working with the building department regarding some outstanding enforcement matters. Been working with the supervisor's office on some personnel matters. Been working with the supervisor's office on some purchasing issues. Been engaged in discussions with some developers and their representatives pertaining to potential plan development and rezoning applications being made to the town board. And as always, I performed legal research, provided legal opinions, and reviewed or prepared legal documents as requested by various town officials and employees.
All right,
Right?
I'll make a motion to approve Tom's report. Second, Gordy? Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, town historian, Tracy?
Good evening, gentlemen.
You're much too young to be a town historian.
I know. So, I want
I
to,
think I can say that.
okay, no offense taken.
All right.
I want to start
Four
off,
federal laws.
I'll be locked up tomorrow, I know that.
I would like to start off by wishing my aunt a happy birthday. She was 95 on
Wow.
Tuesday. And I have to say, if it wasn't for her getting me involved in society, talking me into joining and being there for support, I wouldn't be here today. Because if I didn't first do that, then you wouldn't be standing here talking a few times. So I just wanted to give a shout out to her because she's been there with lots of support and I think a lot of.
Still lives home and
Still by herself? Yeah, by herself, 95.
Makes great chili.
She does. Great chili, great meringues. So when I was over there, I visited with her on Tuesday, and we, of course, got talking about the old days and how she recalls there being a slaughterhouse on Crick Road, which I never knew existed. It was there in the 30s and 40s that people, Rowe, William Rowe.
Right on the turn.
Yes. And he was not only the owner of that, but I found out through newspaper articles that he was a one-time owner of the Heldenberg, which I did not know until I found that in the newspaper. So, and the Heldenberg was also on Crick Road. It was like a restaurant. It was dances on Saturday night. It was a bar, and it was a nice place for people to go. Unfortunately, it burned down in August of 1950, and by the time the fire company got there, it was gone. Yes. So that being said, I've been spending a lot of time going through old newspapers because it seems things that happened in the mid to late 1800s, there is no information on it. But it's amazing, there's this website that you can actually find from the Troy, it's called the Troy Whig, that was in the mid 1800s, and you can find things about Cropsyville and Brunswick, and people who bought property and who they married, and so it's important to compile that information and to kind of have it for historian issues. So I've been spending a lot of time this month doing that. I'm also getting my exhibits together for our annual walkthrough at Forest Park. We do that October of each year, mid-October, and each year I like to add more poster board of information on the people who are buried there because there's quite a bit of interesting information that are found on the people buried there. So people like to casually walk and they're able to read the poster boards and take their time to walk through. And a little bit of tidbit, I found it was very interesting, one of these useless but interesting things I found. In some of the books I found at Forest Park, when people are buried to be interred in Forest Park, it mentions the cemetery that they were buried in. And I've come across the Sunnyside Cemetery, and I never realized where it was until I found it in the paper that that was what Eagle Mills Cemetery was known as. So before it was Eagle Mills, it was Sunnyside. So, well, that was pretty interesting. Little fun tidbits that I've been finding this month, so that's about it.
Very cool.
Entertain a motion to approve Tracy's report.
Yes. Yes.
All in favor? Aye. We put a slaughterhouse next to a creek anymore. would you?
Oh, good Lord, no.
Recycling, Mr. Ansper. Tom. How's the hip operation, buddy? Is it working?
So far, so good.
You're doing good.
So far, so good. It's glad to be back. I'd like to shout out to Mike and his crew for taking care of the pigeon situation.
Yes. Pigeons in the recycling shed, wasn't it?
Had a number of pigeons that would nest down there. They're still flying around down there, still trying to figure it out. I think
Put a net underneath so they can't get up and
I think we got it.
roost overnight.
Right.
A little cleaner for you now.
Much cleaner.
Good.
So less tarps and recycling report for July, blue bags purchased at the center. 525 at $3 for $1,575. Blue bags purchased from vendors, 600 at $1,530. Our purple bags purchased at the center, we had 160 at $2 for $320. Metal, light iron, and tin, 1.41 tons at $120 a gross ton for $151. Miscellaneous large and small appliances, we had 21, 22 TVs, 10 ACs, 26 tires, 2 dehumidifiers, 3 propane tanks for $818. And that gave us revenues of $4,444. Expenses, the refuse landfill, we had 11.79 tons at $85 a ton for $1,242. Our single stream, 11.6 tons at $50 a ton for $580. And that gave us expenses of $1,822. We recycled the landfill for the month of July, 27.3 tons.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Entertain a motion for Tom's report?
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, Brentwood Community Library. Hi, Sarah. What's going on with the library?
It's been a very busy month for us because we're in the middle of summer reading. I'm also here with my board president, Alex Duggan, today. We've been working on our community garden. We recently won an award for it, which she'll talk about later, I think. But we've been incredibly busy. For July, we had 3,156 visitors. We answered 371 reference questions. We checked out 7,972 items. Our programs were attended 1,083 times. We had all of our regular programs, Knitting Club, Bridge Club, Story Time, and Steam Kits, but we also did a lot of specialty programs for the summer. We had our art journaling, book club, kids dance classes, Civil War Day, Tinker Garden, kids mosaics, small garden design workshop, neck paint workshop, kids clothing swap, medieval day, stained glass craft, and our summer reading activities. And we're really excited that we have been starting to work more with some local master gardeners to start to improve our community gardening program. We also, it's not really July, it's August, but we had a kitchen herb class this past week that was very well received by our community. Saturday, we have a kids dance class at 10:30. Our summer reading program does end on August 18th, and then we will be looking into planning our Fall Fest. I know it's weird to say Fall Fest already, but our Fall Fest is scheduled for September 23rd, so mark your calendars. It will be from 12 to 4, and at 3 o'clock, we have a very special reptile show guest appearance from Uncharted Wilds that we are really looking forward to. So.
Excellent. Thank you. That's great. Entertain a motion for Sarah's report?
Make it.
One second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, Bill, resolutions?
Yep. Okay, I only have 2 tonight. Resolution number 40. Yep. Resolution number 40, resolution approving and authorizing supervisor to execute 2023 animal shelter agreement.
So we're doing the animal shelter one there, Bill?
Yes.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Foregoing resolution offered by,
Me.
oh, I know, I got you. By Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Ballasteri. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballasteri.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrison.
Aye.
Quick note, that is an incorrect number, I just realized. When you do cutting and pasting, sometimes it doesn't work out too well. That was resolution number 43 for 2023.
We knew that.
That's what it says, Bill.
That's what it says, we knew it.
It's right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not on my page,
Oh,
that I just read from.
Oh, okay.
All right, so moving on. Resident,
Bill,
Bill, on the one that's going back to the vet, we're gonna put in December 31st of 23 for the, on paragraph 22. They left the blank there.
Okay.
Fill in.
just curious.
Mhm. Okay, what paragraph is that then?
22.
Okay, all right.
I thought we talked about it the other day.
Yep, 1231, right? Okay.
Bow, is that
Question?
spelled right? Is that correct?
B-O-G-H, B-O-G-H-T. Bought, it's got its brown bought if you want to do it. It's not,
The
it's not like a
agreement came from them,
powder.
so
Okay.
I assume they know how to spell their name.
Yeah, B-O-G-H-T is correct.
Mark, go ahead and comment on this a little bit. It's a challenge. Go ahead, Mark. I'll put you on the spot here.
That's okay.
You're gonna explain our situation with Mohawk, Hudson, and the dog, been an issue.
So mid-fall last year, we got notified by Hudson Mohawk Humane Society that they were not going to be offering to renew a contract to be the municipal shelter for us and most other townships. They only retained, I believe, City of Troy, City of Albany. Everybody else was kind of left in the lurch to scramble for shelter. And it's mandated by the state ag and markets that every municipality have a shelter agreement by contract in place. So with nowhere left to go after the first of the year, my partner and I had offered up space to, on a temporary basis, do what we could for normal impoundments, where dog patrol officer picks up a stray dog, they don't know who owns it. Sooner or later, somebody comes forward and we just make sure that it has a license, a rabies shot, and home it goes and everybody's happy. And, those are most of the instances, but however, there are times when there are problem dogs, whether it's, an unclaimed dog, a mean dog, a sick dog, somebody going from New Jersey to Vermont has a car accident and they go to the hospital, where does that dog go? If there's a criminal case where there's a dog involved, then that dog might have to stay someplace for the entirety of the time that case is adjudicated, a year. Those were instances that, we didn't see coming. And also we're led to believe if they were to come along, that that's where Hudson Mohawk would come back into play, saying that's what they do. They just didn't have the space or the time anymore to do the routine impoundments. So townships were scrambling, and found, that we could do a little, other places we could do. Now there's some problems coming to light. And we're getting nowhere anywhere else. It's still a law that you have to have this shelter agreement, but there's no help coming from above. There's talk at the county level. It's not a requirement of the county to provide such a service, but there's talk there. And it's just that at this point. So we're not, and it's never been in a comfortable spot for me sitting on the board to be the one providing a service at all, but we did it, have done it. So Bow, who also is also the Oakwood vet down here close by, they are offering to do what they can, and there's still gonna be problems with problem dogs, but they're doing what they can, and we appreciate of it. So hopefully, if more noise is made, we'll get better guidance and even some help, to how do we carry out this law that's imposed upon us all. And we'll see where it goes from there. But as far as this resolution, it's just for town of Brunswick, we now taken their strays and problem dogs to Ballard, which is also Oakwood.
Right? Now, I want to thank Mark and his partner Cindy from Agway. That's an emergency. I mean, when the first dog warden, she called me one night, somebody, believe it or not, took a dog down by the car washed the car, and went outside the back and tied the dog outside and went home. She called me because the troopers called. That dog had nowhere to go. We didn't know who it was. It was an emergency. What happened supposedly, if people went home and realized they didn't have the dog and came back, I don't know what that was about. But Mark never really, I don't think wanted to do this. He did it out of the goodness of his heart with his partner to help the town of Brunswick and help the animals so that we had someplace. As you know, he's in the grooming business and the boarding business more than anything else. But I appreciate it because it got us out of the line for a little bit of time. Thank you. All right, go ahead, sir.
So, resolution number 44 of 2023. Resolution urging New York State to prevent the planned closure of the Burnett Birth Center at Samaritan Hospital by St. Peter's Health Partners.
I'll make that.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Mark.
And Gordy. Yes. Okay, foregoing resolutions offered by Councilman Sipperly and seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Doster.
Aye.
Supervisor Herring.
Make sure we didn't miss something.
Supervisor Harrington, your vote.
Aye.
Thank you. That's okay. Right, foregoing resolution is adopted. That's it.
That it?
Yep.
All right. Bill, we got any correspondence?
No, I don't. Nope.
Board, any old business? No. New business? Mark, you got a couple things there or no? You were on the spot tonight, buddy.
Oh, we touched on that. Well, Bill, I wanted to mention Wayne Savage, and Bill took care of that. In his nearly 4 years of service to the town, all very grateful for that. I was curious if we have heard anything on the solar moratorium, how we're going along with that. That's going to expire here shortly, I believe. Any chance we could get, next month, a update from sometime? It was brought to my attention, and it's gonna come up in conversation a few times, and then finally I had a customer come in with an armload of newspapers that he wasn't happy about being dropped on his front lawn every Friday morning. And I don't know if it's anything we can do about it. I said I would pass it along. So it appears that the Sand Lake Advertiser that used to be mailed to each of us every week is no longer mailed, and I can attest the same thing. It's thrown out from somebody's window onto each of our lawns and it rains every Friday morning. I don't know if anybody else.
You're right.
So what we end up with is a pile of wet newsprint all over the front lawn. And so I had my own collection, and last week I became a proud owner of another citizen's collection of all his newspapers. And
I thought they went out of business. I don't get it. I don't either.
We don't get it.
every Friday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe online, because I tried to do the same thing.
Grab that microphone.
What they want you to do, you have to go online and you have to sign up for delivery. They will not mail it to you unless you tell them to mail it to you.
They
And
throw it
that
on your
package junk is just junk. It is the
Yeah.
flyers in that bag
Yeah.
that nobody wants. Somebody,
I can assure you nobody wants it.
yeah,
They
okay,
all-
absolutely, yeah,
That's
no,
just-
there's something.
That's just the advertisements, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but for the advertiser, because the society, well, the town even, for the pickups and for this, that, and the other, and now nobody's getting them unless you sign up online or you call. And I know a lot of elderly people that are not online, nobody's getting the advertiser anymore.
But it's a mess, and I drove through Mark's neighborhood on the way through it, and it was
Yeah.
It's ugly, and then somebody ends up cleaning up, you don't pick up your own, and you don't know where it ends up, but it's unsightly mess.
Did you say that, I maybe misunderstood you, did you say that they dump a whole bunch of them?
No, it's a plastic bag that doesn't have the integrity that it needs to keep it dry, stuffed full of the newspaper. That gets, pitched out.
So just one for each
One per
house.
household.
Yeah, the homeowner collect them all.
It's pretty pink though. Got a little pretty pink bag.
Yeah, it's got a pinkish, reddish, rose-colored bag. I've seen about it.
Yeah.
Right, I was wondering what they were.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess.
And the customer said that, he did some other homework, and they said that he could opt out. And he wondered when it was that he ever opted in to have an shouldn't have to opt out of people throwing stuff on your lawn.
I get it on my lawn, I never opted in either, so. All right, Mark?
I don't know, you have to pass a non-littering law or something?
Then I just didn't know
I don't know
if
what you
somebody
can do.
there that could help us out.
I don't know, it's a strange thing, I was thinking, like, what do you do, like, when you guys go out campaigning and you put stuff on, I mean, is that gonna
Well,
be?
they throw that in
violation?
too.
Well, they automatically do that, but I mean, is it also a violation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When is it
careful.
littering, and do we have anything against
We don't
it?
have any, I don't think we have anything, I mean, honestly, I don't even, there's probably something in the penal law about littering, about things like that, I can take a look and see. But, I think maybe, if people might wonder if you might have to like post something, like post no girls and in chase your mailman away. I don't know, let me take a look.
Yes, I know we got a lot to do with it. Thanks.
All right, Rebecca, new business, our deputy town clerk, gotta talk in that microphone, nice and loud.
Just one more comment about the advertisements. Bill and I have had a couple of customers come in pretty angry. So I noticed on the front cover in blue, in the tiniest of writing, it says ask you to call or email to stop the delivery. And I was not happy with that. So I emailed them from my work email here saying, please, our residents are coming in complaining about this. It
Good.
needs to be reversed where it's an opt-in, not an opt-out, stop delivery. I gave them some addresses. Otsego Avenue, I haven't seen any road anymore, so fingers crossed it worked. I haven't
Thank you.
received one in a while, but if you do look on the front page, it's off to the right, you can't really read it. Even, I'm not colorblind, but it was very pronounced. So anyway, there are ways to opt out, but I also have no problem reaching out to them again. if they don't opt out. Supervisor Harrington has asked me to do some research on our town website. We've heard different complaints over the years, and there's pros and cons to the website. So I looked at different municipalities nearby to see what sites they're using. And I reached out to two companies in particular. One of them is called townweb.com. And while they have a really nice package, including an app, I just didn't, from my perspective, I just want a mobile-friendly website. I don't know if we really need an app, but just something that's mobile-friendly and ADA compliant and so on and so forth. Their setup fee alone was $4,500. However, they would transfer content. So I also spoke to a company and I did an hour demo with them for municipal impact. And this service is one of the cheapest I've ever seen. It's actually equivalent to what we are currently paying. Right now, we are paying $1,000 a year subscription, there's no contract. And that is with our current AIT Computers company. They also handle our IT issues. And now I really don't know a lot about the security and all that goes on behind the scenes, and I really don't, I can upload things, sure, but, when it comes to the real details about this kind of stuff, it's not my forte. However, one of the things that really drew me to the municipal impact was the alerting systems with email and text messaging. And I tested it, and as soon as I hit send, I immediately received a text and an email. Now, I noticed on our current website, we only have 512 subscribers. And not for nothing, but I wasn't even subscribed until this week. Because it's off to the side, but it's not like just visually catching. It doesn't really jump out at you, and you don't totally know what you're signing up for. It just says sign up for, I think it said newsletters or news. However, with this alerting system, it's unlimited customers, it's unlimited notifications. And initially, it would be a pop-up. As soon as you go to our website, it'll say, Town of Brunswick has a new website, sign up for alerts. And you can't get past that until you hit the X or sign up. The only information we would be collecting from residents would be first name, last name, if you provide it, a cell phone and an email, nothing else. At the top of the page would be the alert, like today, would have been a beautiful opportunity instead of relying on Facebook, which I'm really trying to stay very active on the Facebook, because it's a great method of communication to the public, and they seem to really like it. However, today we had, first thing this morning, there was the water main break on South Lake Avenue. While I won't be able to necessarily target a certain area of customers, maybe the water department could, I would be able to say, water main break, South Lake Avenue, and then it would send a link for more information, basically. And so that's where you would come back to our site and you'd see, where is it, how does this affect me, so on and so forth. And there's other reasons why we would want to put out alerts, of course. I did go through, I got some information about the security. If you were to contact us through the website, you will not be allowed to add an attachment. So there's no uploading or downloading coming from residents to us. Our email, like if you wanted to do a contact, I can set it up so if you want to reach Supervisor Harrington, you'll reach his secretary. You won't necessarily see her email, but it'll say Supervisor Harrington, and it'll go to her, it can go to you, I can have it sent to anybody. I would be willing to transfer the information to a new site. The reason I'm pro new site is I feel, I've looked through some of the, I got access to our current site, and when you log in, there's an about and a support button that should be able to offer you some support. Neither of those buttons work. There's many misspellings, even the word logged in, you're logged in, 1G. There's a lot of the attention to detail and lack of organization. If I were to go in now to search, the only place to search is under forms and documents. So if I type in dog license, I would want it to move me to the town clerk's page, where it would explain all of that. Right now, it'll come up with nothing. Same thing with marriage license, and I'm only giving these examples because they're things I know. Marriage license, again, it wouldn't redirect you to anywhere. The only searching is whatever is listed under forms and documents. And I would rather search the whole site as a whole, including elections. The only place you can find information about elections is if you go to the About section to the government and it says, please see our elections page. But you can't find that elections page under any other way unless you need to go to the About section. So that, there's a little bit of frustrations with the website, we've heard it, and I just know that this was a nice, it's a template basically, it's a very simple, user-friendly template that the initial cost of $500 would be. Again, there's no contract, it is a cancel at any time, you pay for 1 year. The first year and so on and so forth, it's $1,105 for a year. And you would have unlimited customer support, updates, upgrades, etc. There's a one-time $549 setup fee, and again, that's for basically the template. We would still be townofbrunswick.org. I'd make sure of that.
Is it easy to upload
Very,
minutes and
everything.
maps or
So I was playing with it.
flyers or whatever?
Sure, I was playing with it and just during the demo. And I was able to have a beautiful picture of the Vanderheiden Reservoir as our background. So yesterday morning, I emailed our web host asking, is it possible to have this added to our site or added to as a background? And I still have not received a response. And that's a frustrating problem because if we need help, I would have 24/7 support. And I'm not saying I want to take this over, Phil has tasked me with this. I enjoy like I handle social media. And I enjoy that because it's a really strong interaction with the community. The website, it would take some time to get the information on there. I would focus more on today, what's present now, and then start working backwards towards adding all of the older minutes and older agendas and all of that. But it needs to be very consistent, it needs to be standardized, site mapping needs to be clear. Redirecting to certain pages, it just needs to be user friendly, and I think we could do that. Bill Bradley was also in the meeting with me, just because I needed somebody, I wanted an extra opinion, since like I said, I really don't know about too much of the background stuff. They do have, it says dedicated servers at Liquid Web, complete off-site backups, have multiple levels of securities and firewalls in place. Servers are constantly monitored for PCI compliance. We don't store any data of truly sensitive nature. Online bill pay is available. We don't have to select online bill pay if you don't want to, but it is available.
Do you say other towns are using that locally?
Not locally, unfortunately. We would be the largest town to use this. It is based in the South. It's in, I believe, Texas. However, they are still available support, and it is one of the cheapest, most affordable solutions.
You can do tabs for zoning board, planning board, building department, water department.
Absolutely.
All that. Wow.
Yeah, each department, and each department could manage their own side of their page. So building permits, they could be possibly fillable forms. You'd be able to search the entire site and things of those.
Intriguing.
So like I said, right now we are paying $1,000 a year. The difference is $105 a year. And, but also, I'll work with what we have. But it needs a lot of work.
I asked you to reach out to the county. I think they just updated our
Yes,
proposals, right?
right.
They put it out for a quote or bid or.
It did.
Did you get that, Rebecca?
I do not.
Phil said you were gonna get the RFP.
Yeah, I haven't got a response.
Was that county?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Terrible. What-
Well, when you get it,
That's
As
okay.
soon as I
when
get
you
it.
get it, send it along.
Right.
'Cause let's see what they did.
I believe they are using WordPress, but obviously I'll confirm and get information on pricing. And also, I'd like to know how many people like the service, what they don't like, what are the, the pros and cons.
Well, I'd like to see the process that they use. That, as you and I talked a couple days ago, or maybe it was yesterday, I can't remember. We went out for bids for what we have now years ago, and it was done on a competitive solicitation basis. So, we just need to talk about that, make sure that, we're following the rules.
Right.
I do thank you for putting all the time and effort into it.
Yes, thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, wait, where are we at here?
New business.
Any more new business?
No.
Warrants?
Make the motion, we pay our bills.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Further comments from the visitors? Anybody else at this point? Come on up.
Okay, hi, I'm Alex Devlin, 70 Coldhammer Avenue, but tonight I'm here as the president of the library board and as Sarah's biggest fan. And as she mentioned, we received an amazing honor, the 2022 Upper Hudson Library Association Annual Adult Programming Award.
Wow,
Which is
very nice.
really, really It is such a big deal that Sarah and I were invited to give a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation and a speech to accept the award at the Upper Hudson Award ceremony. It was a lovely night, something that you all should come with us to next year.
Last time I got an award, I did go.
Yes.
I didn't get invited this time.
Sorry.
Just
The
kidding.
tickets were a little expensive and we
I
couldn't
know.
afford it.
Just teasing.
So.
What I did learn when I did go a few years ago, Upper Hudson consists of a lot of libraries,
36 libraries.
36 libraries.
So we beat out
So that-
Greenbush
Yeah.
and Bethlehem and Guilderland and all the big ones and Albany.
That's
And so
That was amazing.
we will be displaying this award at the library. Everybody come over.
Sarah, you and your team,
Yes.
you and your team.
Yes. So I always, whenever I'm here, I always stick up for the library and our amazing team. This particular program, the Community Garden and Composting Program, was a collaboration between a local Girl Scout Gold Award winner now, Isabel Relier, and our Buildings and Grounds Department. Her idea for this garden and composting program was originally very small, but working together, we expanded it and it's huge now. We have lots of vegetables growing, garden beds, the greenhouse is gonna be operational in the colder weather. And what's amazing is that it has really become a community program because people come, they sign up for like a week for it to be their garden in the summer, so they can take the produce. What they don't take goes on our circulation desk, and as people are checking out their books, they grab some tomatoes or pepper or whatever is harvested that week. And people have also started bringing their own overproducing garden produce to the library. So they're donating too. So people who don't have access to gardens, can't afford fresh organic food, when they're checking out their free books, they can also bring home some free produce. And just recently, someone took some zucchinis and brought back zucchini bread. So it's really, the program that started out as, a really nice, small-scale volunteer Gold Award project is now a really thriving community investment. And that's what it is. And that's what I always say every time I come up here to talk is we hold these volunteers investing their time and people investing their money in the library. And we are so grateful for the investment that the town government brings to the library as well. So thank you. If you want to read the details, come to the library.
Thanks, Alan. Anybody else at this point? Any further comments?
Jason Laird, just have a quick question, I want to clarify. So the reason why we're not going to do anything with the road this year is because of the 3 construction projects going on, correct?
Yeah.
If there's one construction project going on next year, is that going to hold up the road?
No, we're gonna take care of
We're
that
gonna
next year.
take care of that.
we're gonna do it right too.
Just making sure.
If not, you know where I live. You never came there before, you have come, I think.
Okay.
No, that's, I totally agree. You got a beautiful neighborhood and beautiful homes. And, you got a beautiful location too. Anybody else at this point? Only other thing I want to comment about is Scott Bedet, our assemblyman, met with me the other day and brought great news that he had some money through grants or whatever, through the assembly, minority part of it probably. And Sand Lake is gonna benefit, and so the town of Brunswick. We're gonna get a new pickleball court put in, so, with their money. So they love the Keys Lane Community Center. As you know, we've been working, trying to improve our dog park. We got our walking trails, our summer concerts, and we went down and looked. And pickleball, they tell me, even my generation, right? That's what it's for, huh? So coming soon, that will happen. Anybody else at this point? Entertain a motion to adjourn, right?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? We didn't sign any warrants. Did we?
Yeah, they got it on there.
Oh.